They are the dictionary equivalent of the word money. Jews. Their only achievement accepted by everyone is trade. The world's richest families, advanced financial networks somehow reach out to Jews. Do you know how this happened? I'm here with a money-smelling video, and you can be amazed as you watch how they turned the tragedies they went through into a mind-blowing wealth. The first of the reasons why Jews are the masters of the money world. Their religious beliefs. How? Between the years 70 and 136 AD, a significant Jewish population was exiled to various regions of the Roman Empire or taken as slaves as a result of their defeats in the Jewish-Roman Wars. The establishment of new states in Europe and the domination of Christianity as the dominant religion was the beginning of bad days for the Jews. Indeed, according to the Bible, Prophet Jesus was subjected to many oppressions by the Jews and even killed by being crucified by the pressure of the Jews. This caused the Christian population to hate the Jews and to alienate them and leave them outside the European ethnic site. So much so that even before the Middle Ages, in Europe, Jews were strictly forbidden to own land, read, serve in the military, or serve in royal offices. Even in many places, it was forbidden for them to enter the city centers. In such an environment of exclusion, there were only a few professions that Jews could do. Handicrafts and usury. Indeed, usury was forbidden in Christianity, but in Judaism there was permission for usury, that is, usury, towards non-Jews. It says in the Old Testament Deuteronomy book, "When you lend money, food or anything else that earns interest to your brother, you will not take interest from him. You can take interest from a stranger. But you will not take it from your brother, so that the Lord your God will bless you in every work you do in the land you will go to acquire." The loan given in return for high interest, called usury, became one of the most basic professions in the Jewish ghettos as the ancestor of banking and made some Jews rich. Even the famous Jewish Rosad family, who is thought to have the largest fortune in the modern world, will get their share of these activities from the Ottoman Empire. In the study titled Ross Witnesses and the Ottoman Empire, prepared by Sezai Balsai and Professor Dr. Mustafa Balsioglu by bringing the documents in the Prime Ministry Ottoman Archive to light, the secret relations of the Jewish origin Ross Witness family with the Ottoman sultans are illuminated. Experts still have documents in their archives that Abdul Hamid II borrowed twice from the Ross Witness family. The interest of the loan of 6,316,920 sterling, which was taken in 1891, is stated as 4% in the documents. The repayment period of the said loan was arranged as 60 years. The second loan amount taken by Abdul Hamid II in 1894 is 8,212,340 sterling, valid until October 15, 1955, with a maturity of 61 years, and it is stated in the documents that it will be paid to the Bank of England. And unfortunately, the debts of the sultans could only be finished on May 25, 1954. Can you imagine what a great loss for us, how a profit from the heir for them, a century-long interest accumulation? Abdul Hamid offered the Rossate family to undertake the construction of the Anatolian railways. In fact, if they had not fallen into a big debt trap, Jewish-Ottoman relations could be considered normal. Because a significant part of the Ottoman population was Jewish and they always supported the Turks against Europe. In fact, there is almost no Turkish-Jewish war in history. Because it is not the Turks and the Jews, but the Christians and the Jews who are at war. The peak of this is the deep Jewish massacres of the Second World War. Turkish-Jewish relations have been fruitful for many years, and even the film Midnight Express, which was shot and won an Oscar to discredit the Turks, was banned in Israel and did not enter the show because the Turks were discredited. The tensions between the Turks and the Jews, who have almost never fought throughout history, only began to arise after the wars between Palestine and Israel. Now let's go back a little. To the medieval Jews. Yes. We had stated that they became rich by lending money at high interest. But usury was not the only way out for the Jews. Because in the Middle Ages, the rich Europeans who borrowed from the Jews could provoke the people at any moment, raid the Jewish neighborhoods and loot their wealth. At this point, the second element that forms the basis of the Jews' commercial success comes up. Fish ties. The Jews, instead of keeping their wealth in their hands due to the possibility of being looted, protected themselves by hiding them through relatives living in safer countries and cities. For this reason, they did not invest in real estate for centuries. Their philosophy was, be ready to run. Invest in lightweight and heavy price. With this motto, they turned their earnings into more valuable metals such as gold and silver instead of real estate. These metals were valuable all over the world and they did not lose their wealth even if they were exiled. Moreover, since they were excluded in all of Europe and were few in number, it was very important for them to cling to each other tightly. Because they could not perform the professions allowed to Christians, they could only do these jobs with each other. Look around. Friend environment. You must have seen people who envy each other because of the money they earn, maybe you have experienced it. But for a Jew, his friends and relatives being rich is as important as being rich himself. Because it is impossible to survive otherwise and money attracts money. For this reason, while the Jews first opened job opportunities for their neighbors, they also used their relatives living in other countries as branches and made them rich. Although the Jewish families were broken up and exiled to different countries, both their obligation to marry only Jews due to their religious beliefs and their small numbers allowed their ties to continue without breaking and to embrace each other when they were in trouble. The foundations of today's large family companies are also the Jewish kinship relations. In the video, we stated that it was forbidden for the Jews to trade and receive education in the countries they lived in. For this reason, families who were in a better financial situation sent their children to their relatives in other countries for a part of their lives, enabling them to learn different jobs and see the world more broadly. Today's large family companies also force their children to work in different companies for about 5 years after university, instead of hiring them in their own companies, to see the system more objectively. A famous Jewish saying summarizes this education process very well. If you don't teach your children how to make money, they learn to steal, friends. Not only countless names like Rossi Cin, but also Christoph, who discovered America. Do you think it is in vain that Columbus is Jewish? Beware of the commercial trap you are facing right now. Let's compare two coffee companies. One produces great coffees and appeals to your taste buds. The other has printed posters that some of the profits from every coffee you buy will go to poor children in Africa or scholarships for young people deprived of education. Which coffee company would you prefer? Another Jewish philosophy that forms one of the basic principles of today's big companies is that if you earn $10, live a $1 life. When you look at the rooted companies, the fact that the family members try not to be media savvy and stay away from ostentation may have caught your attention. You may not even know many of them. This is a contribution of the Jews to today's trade world. A Jew living in ostentation will attract attention and will surely incur the wrath of someone. Rich Jews, to protect themselves from these possibilities, dressed in a way that would not attract attention, and kept themselves away from ostentation and pomp. If you earn $10, live a $1 life. Set aside $1 for worship. Help with $1. Make new investments with $2. And always save the remaining $5. This is also called the jar system. Indeed, the purpose of making money is to be comfortable. One of the definitions of comfort is to have savings that will meet your needs when you need them. Therefore, no matter how much you earn, if you can put half of it aside, only then you have succeeded. And there is a detail here. This is the necessity of thinking not a lifetime, but forever, the work you do. Jewish principles require a long time to be good, longer than a single person's life. After all, you can go bankrupt or rise in any job, but permanence is achieved with centuries. Therefore, if you do not teach the subtleties of the profession you have learned to the next generation, that is, your children, and ensure that they continue to work in this field, then you have failed. When you listen to the stories of most of the Jewish companies in Italy or anywhere in the world, they tell that they started as a small shop in the back streets and then spread to the world by institutionalizing. This is true. Because the Jewish trade understanding says, "Are you an ordinary carpenter? Then do your job with love. Don't praise bad goods, the one who needs it will buy the bad one. If you say that your bad goods are bad, you don't need to tell that your other goods are good. Don't talk negatively about the person you work with, stick to your covenant." If you listen to these words, you will sell the most couches in your neighborhood. If your children listen to you, they will be the ones who sell the most couches in your city. If your grandchildren listen, no one else can sell couches except you. Now let's explain this with an example from our own lives. Let's say you are a construction worker and you want your children to study. According to the Jewish logic, this is a wrong approach. If you are a construction worker and you manage to save some of what you earn, the only thing you need to do is to learn the tricks of your job well. If your children have saved enough money to build and sell a house, then your grandchildren will make the best houses for hundreds of people to live in. Another trick is to know that giving up $3 for your friends will bring $5 for your children. When Jewish businessmen are in difficulty, they seek the opinions of a mentor, that is, a mentor. A mentor who is experienced in trade from outside the company, who will guide the events without adding emotions because he looks at the events from the outside, will always be one of those who are in that business. Let the covenant always be written, and if you listen to the street, you will hear and see people who have lent money to their friends but have not received it, and who have been guarantors of their loans, but who have been subjected to large. Jews, however, never make verbal agreements. Trust and trade are completely different. Because one is surprised by these people, and the word flies and the writing remains. Otherwise, I will pay your debt at will. Wait, you would say that money is not important to you. You may be the one who is embarrassed. Give it away and sell it later is one of the cleverest moves of the Jews. This practice is to create a need before the sale. This application is really an ingenious discovery. Imagine you own a tractor factory. If you distribute these tractors free of charge to large farmers, after a while, users will need spare parts. This means that you open new factories in that region and start selling products. In addition, the best advertisement is the one that is talked about on the street. Therefore, every farmer you give a free tractor to is actually an opportunity for other farmers to buy tractors from you. Because that's the nature of man. Everyone wants someone else to taste a dish they like. Ask yourself, right? Now you might say that not every Jew is rich, of course not. Different classes are needed for societies to survive. Yes, there are poor Jews. There are also Jews who have failed in their undertakings. However, our point here is that although Jews make up 2/1000 of the world's population, they have achieved commercial success 90-100 times their population capacity. It is a fact that we have many economic lessons, and it is clear that they will continue to be one of the most influential societies in the world for years to come. I hope that one day they will open the door to world peace as well as their determination in trade. Don't forget to subscribe to my IntellectTrail channel and follow me on my Instagram account. See you soon.